You're not here by accident. Maybe you're scrolling in silence, looking for something you can't quite name. Or maybe deep inside, a part of you feels watched over. Not in fear, but in warmth. A whisper, a gentle tug, like someone or something has been guiding you all along. Have you ever paused for no reason and felt a presence? Not a person, a presence. Have you noticed moments when things just align? When lyrics answer questions you've never spoken aloud? When you're at your lowest, but somehow peace finds you? They say we live in a world of noise, but what if the real messages are hidden in the quiet? Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I was going through one of the hardest seasons of my life. Everything looked fine on the outside, but inside, I felt lost, untethered. One night, I sat on my bedroom floor. No music, no distractions, just silence. And in that silence, something shifted. I didn't see wings, I didn't hear a voice, but I felt something. A warmth across my back. A peace that had no explanation. It was as if someone was saying, "I'm here, keep going." That moment didn't solve my problems, but it changed me, because I knew, without needing proof, I wasn't alone. Since then, I've learned to listen. And the more I listened, the more I noticed the signs. Not loud, not dramatic, just real. And if you're here now, maybe you're starting to hear them too. In this video, we're going to explore 10 sacred signs that your spiritual angel is walking beside you, gently, quietly, but unmistakably. Stay with me, because once you recognize these signs, you'll never walk the same path again. Close your eyes for a second. Think about everything that had to happen for you to arrive at this moment, this very video, this very breath. All the choices, the detours, the heartbreaks, the long nights of not knowing what you're looking for. And yet here you are. That's not an algorithm. That's alignment. When your soul is ready to remember something it once knew, the universe whispers. It doesn't shout. It nudges. It arranges. It places breadcrumbs across your path. A title that stands out. A message you feel in your chest before your mind catches up. That's what this video is. A breadcrumb. You're not here out of boredom. You're here because somewhere inside, a quieter part of you has started stirring. And that part? It's not looking for answers. It's remembering the truth. Carl Jung believed that when the soul is ready to evolve, it sends out a signal, not with words, but with energy. And in response, the world around you begins to shift. The right people appear. The right signs begin to repeat. You feel drawn to ideas and places you never considered before. You didn't stumble upon this, you were called to it. Not by chance, by resonance. Because your angel, your spiritual guide, doesn't speak the way we do. It speaks through attraction, through emotional nudges, through that subtle magnetism you can't quite explain. That pull you feel, that curiosity, that chill that just ran down your spine. That's not random. That's the beginning of a sacred dialogue. So before we dive deeper, just pause and honor this moment. Something brought you here, not to distract you, but to awaken you. You didn't just click on a video. You answered a call. You ever notice how life whispers before it screams? That's how angels speak, not with thunder, not with lightning, but with patterns so gentle, only a quiet heart can hear them. Numbers that repeat. Songs that echo something you needed to hear. A stranger's phrase that feels like it was meant only for you. It's not superstition, it's synchronicity. Carl Jung coined that word to describe what happens when the inner world aligns with the outer. When your unconscious begins to bleed into your conscious life, not by force, but by resonance. And that's how angels move. You see 1111, then 222, then the same phrase 3 times in one day. At first it feels like coincidence, but over time you start to feel it. That these signs aren't just appearing randomly, they're appearing for you. Your guardian angel isn't trying to impress you, it's trying to wake you up, because when the soul is ready to evolve, reality shifts. The veil between the physical and the spiritual thins, and things you once brushed off now feel different, more personal, more vivid. You might hear a lyric and cry without knowing why. You might sense a presence in the room, even when you're alone. You might walk into a space and feel your chest open for no reason at all. That's not imagination. That's communication. Not the kind you were taught to expect, but the kind your soul has always known. The kind that doesn't speak in words, but in vibration. And the more you pay attention, the louder it gets. That's the paradox. The more subtle the sign, the more profound the message. Your angel won't shout to get your attention, but it will repeat, it will echo, until the message isn't just something you notice, it becomes something you feel. So if the signs are stacking up, if you've been seeing the same symbols, the same numbers, the same names again and again, stop doubting, start listening, because something is trying to reach you. And the moment you stop brushing it off as chance, the real connection begins. It's one of the strangest things. You're in the middle of chaos, bills unpaid, heart aching, uncertainty clouding everything. And then, without warning, something inside you goes still. A breath deepens, a thought softens, and for no logical reason, you feel okay. Not because the storm passed, but because something greater stepped into the room. Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." And in that moment of unexpected calm, what's awakening isn't your mind, it's your soul, and it's sensing presence. This is how your spiritual guide works, not by solving all your problems for you, but by reminding you that you're not alone in them. You don't have to be sitting cross-legged in meditation to feel it. You could be folding laundry, crying in your car, walking aimlessly through your day, and suddenly the weight lifts, not entirely, but just enough for you to breathe again. That's divine intervention. Quiet, unannounced, incredibly real. Your angel doesn't need fanfare to make itself known. Its signature is subtle, a sudden sense of safety in the middle of fear. A warmth across your back, a soft certainty that things will be okay, even if you have no evidence to believe that. This isn't positive thinking, it's energetic alignment. It's your frequency syncing with something higher, something older, something made of love. And here's the truth most people miss. Peace isn't the absence of pain, it's the presence of something stronger than pain. When you feel that, when your body relaxes despite your mind spinning, that's the soul responding to something ancient and true. A whisper from your angel that says, "I've got you." You're not going crazy, you're tuning in. And the more you allow yourself to trust that peace, to feel it without needing to explain it, the deeper the connection becomes. So next time you feel that sacred stillness arrive where it shouldn't, don't dismiss it. That's not a glitch, that's grace. There comes a moment when your perception changes. You walk into a room, nothing looks different, but you feel everything. The tension in the air, the warmth or heaviness, the invisible current swirling beneath surface smiles. You're not reading people anymore, you're reading energy. Carl Jung believed that the psyche communicates in symbols, but it also responds to vibration. And when your soul begins to awaken, your body becomes an antenna, not for words, but for truth. You start noticing how your chest tightens around certain people, even if they're polite. Or how some places, though familiar, now leave you exhausted. It's not because you're sensitive, it's because your spiritual guide is refining your frequency. You're being taught, through experience, what aligns and what doesn't. What lifts you, and what quietly drains your light. This is energetic intelligence, and your angel speaks it fluently, not through lectures or warnings, but through a feeling in your gut, a resistance in your bones, a pull toward something for reasons you can't explain. Can't. It's the whisper. Go here, not there. Talk to them, not now. Leave, stay, breathe. And when you follow that whisper, life flows differently. Things once tolerated become unbearable. Conversations without depth feel noisy. And the noise, all of it, becomes a sign that your soul is asking for silence. You may begin to feel alone during this time. Misunderstood, disconnected from old circles that once felt like home. But you're not breaking down. You're being cleansed. Your angel is teaching you discernment, not through fear, but through resonance. You're learning to trust sensation over logic, frequency over familiarity, and eventually this becomes a new way of being. You choose spaces that feel like clarity, people who don't drain your light, decisions that leave your body at peace, even if your mind still has questions. That's alignment. That's how your guide speaks, not through answers, but through energy shifts. And the more you listen, the more you trust, the louder it gets. So if you've started noticing these signals, strange discomforts, unspoken knowing, sacred draws toward what your mind doesn't understand, you're not overreacting. You're becoming attuned. And your angel, they've been waiting for you to hear this frequency your whole life. It begins so quietly you almost miss it. You're alone. No music, no noise, no movement, just a moment of stillness. But instead of emptiness, something arrives. Not a thought, not a voice, a presence, soft, steady, familiar in a way that language cannot hold. Carl Jung once said, "Solitude is for me a fount of healing." But this isn't solitude in the way the world defines it. It's communion. Because when the outside quiets, the inside begins to speak. And the one speaking isn't your mind, it's your soul, remembering the presence that's always been with you. Your spiritual angel doesn't need noise to be near. In fact, silence is their native language. Not absence, but amplification. A space where all the distractions dissolve and what remains is truth. You feel it in your chest before you understand it. A soft grounding, a calm certainty, an unexpected sense that you are not alone, and you never were. This isn't imagination. This is your field aligning, because presence doesn't have to be loud to be real. Sometimes, the most sacred guidance arrives without announcement. It simply is. The more you honor these moments, not trying to fill them or define them, the more they multiply, washing over you like gentle waves of reassurance, returning you again and again to the most important knowing. You are accompanied, you are safe, you are seen. In silence, your angel doesn't fix. They remind. They don't push. They anchor. And in that anchoring, something inside you begins to shift. You start listening more carefully, not just in silence, but in life. You begin to hear messages between words, feelings beneath conversations, guidance woven into the stillness between decisions. It's subtle, yes, but it's sacred. And every time you surrender to that stillness, even for a moment, you're saying yes. Yes to the ray. You were going to say something, but paused. You were ready to act, but suddenly felt unsure. A message you were about to send stays unsent. A plan you'd prepared now feels off. No one said anything. Nothing obvious changed. But inside, something shifted, and you listened. That subtle redirection? That pause without logic? That's your spiritual angel at work. Carl Jung taught us that intuition gives outlook and insight. It revels in the garden of magical possibilities. And this is one of them. A loving force influencing your path without resistance or control. Only remembrance. You don't feel pushed. You feel guided, like a whisper in the fabric of your energy says, "Not yet, not this way instead." It's not fear, it's clarity without explanation. And when you follow it, you notice something beautiful. Things begin to align. Conflict is avoided. Peace is preserved. And while your mind still searches for the why, your body already knows. This isn't manipulation, it's tuning. Just as a musician adjusts an instrument until it sings, your angel is tuning you, gently, patiently, back to your original frequency. One that isn't driven by noise or urgency, but by presence. You begin to feel more like yourself, more centered, more compassionate, more honest. And not because you're trying, but because that version of you is no longer buried beneath the noise. You don't react like before, you don't spiral. You pause, you breathe, you choose. And each time you do, that bond grows. You don't need to know the whole plan. You just need to follow what feels right. That small no you couldn't explain. That nudge to turn down a path you hadn't considered. That strange knowing that kept you still when everything said go. They're not random, they're sacred redirections, not to change who you are, but to return you to who you've always been. And the more you honor those nudges, the less you need to question. Because this connection, it's not in your thoughts, it's in your truth. The you who doesn't always know where you're going, but trusts the journey anyway. So next time you feel that quiet pull, when something in you says wait, or turn, or speak differently, don't dismiss it. That's not hesitation, that's guidance. That's your angel, reminding you, you don't have to force your way forward, just stay in tune, and I'll walk with you. It's a quiet afternoon. Nothing dramatic has happened, no news, no miracle, and yet your heart whispers, thank you. Not to anyone in particular, not for anything specific, just a wave, warm, full, wordless, swelling from somewhere deep within you. That's not random, that's presence. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And in this moment, you're brushing against that truth. Not because of what changed outside, but because of what you're remembering inside. This is the kind of gratitude that doesn't wait for life to be perfect. It doesn't follow a checklist. It arises in the space between thoughts, between breaths, between moments you almost missed. It comes while you're washing dishes, walking through the park, watching light fall across your floor. It arrives when your mind is quiet enough for your soul to speak. And what it says is simple. I'm not alone. This isn't about religion, or belief, or having all the answers. This is a moment of knowing. A soft awakening to something ancient and constant. A spiritual companion, a guardian. A love that never needed proof to be real. You may not see wings, you may not hear a voice, but something in you knows. It knows that during the chaos, something held you. That in the darkest night, some presence stayed. That through every heartbreak, some force kept whispering, "You're not done. You're not broken. Keep going." And now your gratitude is your soul's response to that love. A quiet, sacred thank you that asks for nothing and gives everything. Because when you feel this kind of gratitude, you don't need life to change. You already have. You become softer, wiser, more open to beauty, more able to see the divine not just in heaven, but in every corner of your ordinary life. So when that gratitude wells up, without logic, without reason, pause. Let it move through you, because that feeling isn't yours alone. It's your angel, touching your energy, wrapping you in remembrance, reminding you, you were never alone, and you never will be. There's a silence that doesn't feel empty. It feels full, not full of noise or thought or expectation, but full of presence. You might be sitting by yourself, no phone, no distraction. The world around you quiet. And instead of loneliness, you feel stillness, a kind of sacred peace. That's not just you calming down, that's you tuning in. Carl Jung once said, "Solitude is for me a fount of healing, which makes my life worth living." And maybe now you understand why. Because in this stillness, something touches you that doesn't exist in sound. It's a presence that doesn't need to be seen. A love that doesn't ask for attention. A gentle companion that sits with you, saying nothing, yet healing everything. This stillness doesn't demand effort. You don't have to meditate perfectly, breathe a certain way, or chant a mantra. You simply arrive, and when you do, your spiritual angel draws near. They've been waiting, not for your perfection, but for your pause, because it's only in the quiet that your soul has space to feel what's always been there. Guidance, love, safety. It's like standing in the middle of an invisible embrace, one that doesn't hold your body, but holds your being. And in that moment, there's no past to regret, no future to fear. There's only now. And somehow, that's enough. You may notice your breath deepens, your chest softens, a tear may fall. Not from sadness, but from recognition. From remembering that this stillness isn't empty. It's sacred. It's where your angel lives. This kind of stillness changes you. Not all at once, but gently, consistently, as if life itself starts to move to a softer rhythm, one that matches your own soul. And when you return to the world, to the noise, the people, the plans, something inside you remains anchored, because once you've touched this stillness, you never truly forget it. You carry it with you, a quiet echo of a divine presence that needs no words to say. I'm here, I've always been here, and I always will be. There comes a moment when you stop second-guessing, when you no longer need to explain, justify, or ask 10 people for their opinion, because inside you, something clicks. It's not logic, it's not fear, it's knowing. Carl Jung taught that the unconscious communicates not in words, but in symbols, impulses, and emotions. And this inner yes and no, it's your soul's way of speaking. A yes that feels like openness, expansion, warmth. A no that feels like contraction, tightness, unease. You don't think your way into it, you feel it. You meet someone and your chest tightens. No, you're offered an opportunity and your body lights up. Yes, there's no spreadsheet to consult, no list of pros and cons to make. Just you, your field, and a signal that is unmistakable when you finally choose to trust it. At first it feels scary, because we're trained to doubt ourselves, to prioritize outside voices over inner truth, to confuse intuition with insecurity. But the deeper your spiritual connection grows, the louder your truth becomes. It doesn't need to shout. It just stands there, calm, still, unshakable. And when you listen, when you act on it, something magical happens. Your life aligns, doors open, chaos lessens. You feel guided, not because someone told you what to do, but because you remembered how to listen. This isn't about being impulsive or reckless. It's about becoming reconnected to the compass that never broke, only got buried under noise. Your yes and no are sacred. They are the language of the divine moving through you. They are your spiritual angel's fingerprints, guiding you without ever needing to say a word. So the next time you feel that inner whisper, even if no one else understands it, honor it. Because it's not just a feeling. It's a message, it's a map, and it might just be the voice that leads you home. It starts subtly, a shift in your interests, a restlessness in your routines, a quiet voice inside whispering, "There's more." At first, it doesn't make sense. Your life might look fine on the outside, predictable, stable, comfortable, but something in you no longer fits the mold. You wake up not just tired, but disconnected. You scroll not for joy, but for distraction. And the dreams you used to have? They start to return, louder, clearer, bolder. Carl Jung believed that each soul carries within it a unique purpose, an archetypal journey toward wholeness. And when your spiritual angel begins guiding you more actively, it's not to soothe your comfort, it's to ignite your calling. Suddenly, old paths feel too small. The conversations you used to enjoy start to feel hollow. The spaces you once loved now feel confining. And even the roles you've played, the identities you've worn, begin to crack. Because you're not who you were. You're being shaped, sculpted, prepared, not to become someone else, but to become more of who you truly are. And it's not always glamorous. The preparation looks like endings that hurt, discomfort that lingers, long nights filled with questions and no clear answers. But underneath the confusion, something sacred is happening. You're being emptied so you can be filled, unlearned so you can remember, stripped bare so your truth can finally emerge. Your spiritual angel isn't pushing you toward perfection. They're walking you back to purpose, quietly, consistently, gently. They send signs, synchronicities, whispers of what's possible, not to tease, but to train. Because your higher calling isn't about achieving more. It's about becoming more aligned, with love, with integrity, with your soul. And if you've been feeling this pull, this inner tension between who you are and who you're becoming, know this. It's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. You are not lost. You are being led. And one day, when you look back on this chapter, this stretch of uncertainty and awakening, you'll see it not as a detour, but as the exact road you needed to walk. So trust the preparation. Honor the pull, because your spiritual angel isn't just guiding you. They're calling you to rise, to remember, to return to the work your soul came here to do.